Hello, welcome to another video from EarnPed.com. I am StevieB. Happy to have you all with me today as I am still on Planet Toulan. I know we're making some videos in other parts of the universe away from Next Island. I've uploaded some videos from Next Island this past week. I've uploaded a couple of videos from Toulan this last week, and I want to talk a little bit about those other videos and kind of continue to build on them. However, first I want to give you guys a little bit of a personal update. So first of all, I'm sorry. I am getting over a really bad allergy sickness that's been killing me for about a week now. So if I cough a little bit during the video or if I seem a little bit stuffy, please excuse it. We had some really bad allergies about a week ago. Pollen was really high and it just absolutely destroyed me. I immediately started a regimen of Mucinex and Allegra and all the great allergy stuff, trying to keep it from getting down into my lungs, because every time that happens it turns into bronchitis. And it was successful, but it's like it's stuck in the bottom of my throat now. So I keep trying to hack it up to get it out of there. But it's on the mend, and we're finally kind of toward the better part of it. So yay on that. So I just apologize in advance if I do that in your ear a couple times during the video. Also, wanted to let you guys know, finally, after almost 6.5 months, they have indeed brought somebody else onto my shift to work with me. I actually had a night off last night, miracle of miracles, and I slept practically the whole night. I should be off this weekend as well, and then I should be on a schedule where I essentially have every other weekend off. Now, that being said, do I plan to do anything this weekend? Not really. So here's kind of my problem. The human body was never meant to work 7 days a week without a day of rest. It just wasn't. This was tried during World War II, and it failed miserably. Humans just are not designed to go around the clock all day, every day. It's just not how we're built. And I've essentially done it for almost 6 months now. In 6 months, I've had a total of, I believe, this is the 5th day off I've had in 6 months. I don't get weekends. I don't get days off. I'm just there literally every single night. The only reason I got a day off almost 2 months ago was I was so desperate for a haircut. I told them, I was like, I look like a homeless person. You have to let me at least go get a haircut. So otherwise I wouldn't have even got that day off. So that being said, I did not realize the toll that it was taking on my body or my mind working all day, every day. Now, when I say all day, every day, I just mean a regular 8.5-hour shift, but just doing that literally every single day for 6 months, it took a real toll on my body. It took a real toll on my frame of mind and my mental well-being. I was not in a good place mentally at all, and it's not something that is good by any stretch of the imagination. So last night helped out tremendously, and I'm hoping that a full weekend of rest will help out even more and hopefully get me back in shape. Also, by the time you guys watch this video, I am hoping and praying that the personal stuff I've been dealing with for so long now will finally be over with. I am absolutely desperate in every sense of the word for it to be over with in a way I cannot articulate to you guys. I'm hoping that it's wrapped up by the time you guys see this video, because if not, I am probably just going to like split my cranium straight down the middle and split into 2 different personalities and just lose my marbles altogether. So I'm really desperately hoping that that is the case. So that being said, that kind of gives you an update where I've been. And the reason I bring that up is we still have to do the first Fight Club. I haven't even been able to get the first Fight Club out of the way because of all the work I've been doing for my job. And now that they're finally bringing somebody else onto my shift, wouldn't you know, it's the worst possible timing. So this weekend, between trying to rest and trying to hopefully praying literally all day, every day, that this ends the real life stuff I'm dealing with. Obviously, I'm not doing it this weekend, which would be the first weekend in October. And then I work next weekend, then I'll have the weekend after that off. Here's the problem. Halloween Mayhem's coming up at the end of October. And obviously, I have to bang out Halloween Mayhem, and then we've got Christmas Mayhem coming right after that, Merry Mayhem. So this is like the worst possible time for me to even attempt to do the first Fight Club. I'm still planning on doing it. I'm still planning on doing it on Next Island. I've still got everything more or less lined up. I've still got a list of everybody who's already contacted me. It's just been a timing issue. I'm hoping, without looking at Mayhems, take Mayhem aside, I'm hoping that maybe my every other weekend off, we can at least do it once a month. That'd be nice. I haven't figured that out yet. But that's why I really need that weekend of rest. Maybe pump out a couple of videos for you guys and kind of get my calendar looked at to figure out exactly where I can do everything and fit it in with Mayhem in there. So that being said, this brings me to the point of my last videos. The first two videos I shot here on Toulan, one was to get the NawaCore MK1 mission, and then the other one was finishing the NawaCore MK1 mission, getting the NawaCore, and unlocking more of those daily missions. So why is the NawaCore MK1 so vital to your success on Toulan, especially as a new player? Well, Toulan has something that is a little bit unique in the Entropia universe. And it has to do with those daily missions, which is why you want that NawaCore MK1. You can get some of the daily missions from the mission terminal without the NawaCore. When you get the NawaCore MK1, you unlock a couple of additional missions. But then you can upgrade it to the NawaCore MK2 and even the MK3, and when you do, you unlock even more daily missions. Now, here's the interesting thing. Daily missions on Toulan are not actually daily missions. They're actually hourly missions. They're called daily missions, but virtually all of them, I say virtually all, there may be some exceptions to the rule here, but the vast majority, I'll say vast majority to be safe, are actually hourly missions. So if I go to my mission log, and let's see here, okay, so this is Hunt 100 Jeef Zajar. The increased alertness by 17 Peck is the reward, right? Now remember, I'm stacking this, so this mission, in my old mission log, that's going to stack with Codex. So I'm going to be able to stack this with Codex. So if I do this mission to hunt this 100 Jafar, then it's going to stack with my Codex rewards as well, right? But this mission is the daily version that I get from the terminal. The reward is 17 Peck of alertness. Well, if I do this mission, guess what? When I complete it, I believe, I haven't done this yet, so you got to work with me on how the mechanics work here. But once I complete it, I get that reward. I can do it again an hour later. So I can literally pick a set of missions, and I can do this one, get the reward, then go do this one, get the reward, go do this one, get the reward, go do this one, get the reward. By the time I do those, if an hour has passed, that hour cooldown period from the first one is passed, I can circle back, do this one again, get the reward again. By the time I'm done with that, this one is done. Now I can get the reward for that. By the time I'm done with that, this one's cooldown is done. Now I can do it again, get the reward for that. By the time I do that, this one's cooldown is done. Now I can get the reward for that. Then I can start the whole process over because this one's cooldown is done, so I can just start the loop over. And depending on what weapon you're using, depending on which mobs you're hunting, it would not be too terribly difficult to find a way to stack these missions so that you can essentially bang, 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 bang. By then, the hour cooldown is done on the first one and just make a loop out of it. And when you look at these rewards, okay, alertness, that's a defense skill. This one is dodge. Okay, well, dodge is a pretty valuable defense skill. Aim, not so much a super valuable one. Combat reflexes, well, that seems pretty important. And look at the reward, 1.26 ped. Now, I'm sure that this is a higher level mob. I'm sure this is not going to be super easy to hunt. 11 Peck handgun, not super important. Anatomy, not super important. BLP weapon tech. Aim. Perception, that's a decent one. Long blades. So the ones I'm really super interested in are alertness, dodge, combat reflexes. Well, even if I was just to try and do these three as many times as I could every single day, that's going to add up pretty quickly. Now, here's the problem that I'm facing. When I first came here, I had a plan. I had a plan all the way back when they canceled Summer Mayhem. Pretty much as soon as they canceled Summer Mayhem, my plan was to come to Toulan and start using the fact that these daily missions are really hourly missions to start skilling. And there was a very specific way I was going to skill, with a very specific set of missions I was going to use, with a very specific set of mobs I was going to hunt. And if I'd been able to do that between when they canceled Summer Mayhem and, I don't know, now at the end of September, then conceivably I could have gotten all the skilling in that I needed to get in, and I could have been where I needed to be ready for Halloween Mayhem. I will tell you right now, I am nowhere near ready for Halloween Mayhem. I'm more or less exactly where I was back when they canceled Summer Mayhem. And that wasn't necessarily by choice. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I've been on this horrendous work schedule and just have not had days off. It's taken such a toll on my body that I've literally been to the point where I go to work, I go to sleep, I go to work, I go to sleep, I go to work, I go to sleep. And it doesn't matter how much I try and sleep, there's never enough rest to get my body back on track, to get my mind back on track. It doesn't happen. And unfortunately, I wanted the stuff I've been dealing with in real life to be done back in January. It wasn't. It wasn't even done back at the end of February. And I was at the end of my rope back at the end of February. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't take this. I can't deal with this anymore. And I was literally in the shower. And I was like, I can't deal with this. I can't do it anymore. I'm at the end of my rope. I can't. I quit. I'm done. This isn't how I ever thought it was going to be. I can't do it. And not only that, I don't know how to do it. And I got out of the shower. I got dressed. I got in the truck. I was driving to work. And I turned on the radio. And whoever was on this radio station, they said, we know you're at the end of your rope. We know you can't do anymore. That's understandable. Everybody gets there. And we know this probably isn't how you ever imagined it. This probably isn't how you ever thought it would be. But it's okay. Here's how you do exactly what it is I said I couldn't do. And it caught my attention and my ears perked up and I was like, okay. And the next words out of his mouth were, just give God a little more time. He'll finish it for you. And I literally pulled the truck over and I was like, okay, hearing you loud and clear, big guy. You know, when I'm in the shower thinking those three exact things, and I immediately get out of the shower, get in the truck to go to work, and I turn on the radio, and that's exactly what comes across the radio. God doesn't have to hit me over the head with a hammer for me to know that he's listening. And I was like, okay, you want a little bit more time? I'll give you a little bit more time. I thought he meant a couple of weeks. I had no idea it would be months on months on months on months. And I'm literally to the point, like I said, I'm just about to split my wig and fall over and have multiple personality disorder from all the trauma that's been going on here, because it's been a lot. So I didn't want it to be this way. I wanted all that to be cleared up, and I wanted to make a lot of great videos for you guys and do a whole lot of, fight clubs on Next Island, and I want to spend a ton of time skilling here on Toulan, taking advantage of the fact that these daily missions are actually hourly missions, and you can just do them over and over and over again. And I would have been in really, really good shape for Halloween Mayhem. Unfortunately, that's just not how it went. That's just not how it worked out. So, that being the case, I've got to use part of this weekend to come up with my plan for what I'm going to do in the little amount of time I have left to get ready for Halloween Mayhem. Now, one thing that I will note is that these daily missions actually being hourly missions, this is likely going to be much more advantageous for newer players than it is for older players or more experienced or higher level players. Part of the reason for that is because if you notice, if we look at that list of missions, the rewards are not huge. They're, 17 pek, 6 pek, 9 pek. Now, 1.26 pet, that's a pretty good one, but like I said, that's not going to be the easiest mission to complete, I'm sure. So, that being the case, we're talking you're going to have to do these missions thousands and thousands and thousands of times. So, there was one I was pretty interested in. I did try it out. It was only a 20 kill mission. The mob was higher level than I wanted. It required a bigger gun than I wanted. It was not necessarily the hunt I wanted. And when I did get the reward, it was a decent reward, but it was so small compared to my level that it really didn't necessarily matter that much. Now, if I match those rewards and take Codex into account, and I add the Codex reward into it, it makes a lot more sense. It still might not make perfect sense, but it makes a lot more sense, even at mid or higher levels, to come here if you need to skill. At this point, the only thing that's really going to help me get to where I want to be is just going to be cycling a bajank load of hunting. Just hunt and hunt and hunt and hunt and just skill and skill and skill and skill as you naturally would, and just use Codex to the best of my ability. And if there are missions that will help add on to that, it's just kind of like icing on top. For a new player, the mission rewards from these missions could potentially have pretty decent gains, especially since you can do them in an hour and then a cooldown and then another hour. Especially, like I said, if you can make a loop out of it. For higher level players, your natural skilling and your Codex is going to be where most of your gains are, and then the gains from these dailies that are really hourlies, that's just going to kind of be the icing on top. So it's a great place to come skill if you're a new player especially, and if you're not a new player, if you're a mid or higher level player, it's still not bad. Every little bit counts, and sometimes that little bit can make all the difference, right? So I wanted to get that out there because I know a lot of people were curious, like, why is the NawaCore MK1 such a big deal? Why is unlocking these daily missions such a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because they're not really daily missions, they're hourly. And if you put that into your calculus, and if that becomes a part of your plan, and you plan to knock them out thousands and thousands and thousands of times over your career, then it adds up significantly. One mission reward may not help you too much, but think of that mission reward being done 10,000 times over a career. How much is that worth over an entire career? It's quite a bit. So I will leave it for there today. That kind of gets you guys caught up on where I am, what all I'm dealing with. It also kind of lets you guys in on my thinking and thought process when it came to unlocking the missions, why the NawaCore MK1 is so important. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who may not realize that the Toulan missions, they're really not dailies. They're just hourly missions. So I will leave it there for now. I will be back with more content for you guys later this week. Hopefully, this nightmare of mine ends in the next 48 hours. I am hoping and praying by the time you guys watch this video that my nightmare is over. If not, I don't even know at this point. I'm probably just going to be curled up in a ball in the corner, rocking back and forth like a crazy person. So, for now, I'm going to leave it there. Hit that like button because there's always a hitter hitting the dislike button. Hit the subscribe button because every Stevie matters. We really appreciate it. Also, head over to earnped.com because when you earn, we earn. That's by far the best way you guys can help support us. We know we were not the first, nor are we the only place that you can earn ped online. So when people choose to support us, it really means a lot. So that being said, sip, sip, smack, smack, and I guess now cough, cough. Y'all know the rest, and we'll be back with more for you later this week. Take care, Stevies.